Welcome back, students. Now we are going to continue with the next paragraph.
Now she continued. She said that I get along pretty well with all my teachers. There are 9 of them, 7 men and 2 women. Mr. K. Singh, the old foggy. Foggy means an old fashioned person who teaches maths, was annoyed with me for ages because I talk so much. Now she just continued telling about the teachers. She said that she was having pretty well with all the teachers. In this school, they were having 9 of them, 7 men and 2 women. Mr. Kissing. He was, according to her, an old fashioned person who teaches maths to her. And he always remained annoyed with her. Me stands for Anne Frank. Because she talked too much. After several warnings, he assigned me extra homework, an essay on the subject, a chatterbox. A chatterbox means one who talk too much. A chatterbox, what can you write about that? I would worry about that later. I decided. I jotted down the title in my notebook, tucked it in my bag, and tried to keep quiet. As she said that her maths teacher, he was annoyed with her because she talked too much. And several times he gave her warnings. Then he assigned her extra homework. She gave her extra homework to write an essay. Look at the topic it was given, a chatterbox. Very funny one. One who talks too much. Then Anne thought, a chatterbox? What one can write on that? She said, okay, not to worry. I'll think about later. And she decided that she jotted down the title, note down the title in a notebook and tucked means to push or to fold that notebook in her bag and tried to keep quiet. Now she was talking about that evening when she came back from school. That evening, after I had finished the rest of my homework, the note about the essay caught my eye. I began thinking about the subject while chewing the tip of my fountain pen. And what happened? Till evening, she completed all the work. And at that time, as I told you, she had written the title in her notebook. That essay, it was caught her eyes. And she just have a look at the title. She began thinking about the subject while she was chewing the tip of her fountain pen. My Miss Anne Frank's. And when you are in deep thinking, we people used to do that thing. We used to chew the pen, pencil, whatever you were having in a hand. And anyone could remain, ramble on, and leave big spaces between the words. Ramble on means to talk about aimlessly for long on and big leave big spaces between the words, but the trick was to come up with convincing argument is statement made in such a manner that people believe it. Prove the necessity of talking. I thought and thought, and suddenly I had an idea. I wrote the 3 pages Mr. K. Singh had assigned me and was satisfied. And what she did? She was thought that she should just leave the big spaces in between so that it should cover the pages. But then she thought about the trick was come up with means one statement you have to maintain that people should believe it. And they should know about the necessity of talking. So she thought about it. She thought and thought, and suddenly she got an idea. And do you know, she wrote 3 pages on that topic that was assigned by Mr. K. Singh, her maths teacher. and now she was satisfied that she had written a very good essay. I argued that talking is a student's trait and I would do my best to keep it under control. What she written is that this is the quality. She argued in that essay that this is the student's quality, that they should talk, and she would do the best to control it. These are the difficult words from page number 52. Quacking in its boots means shaking with fear and nervousness. Glances means take a brief or hurried look. Old fogey means an old-fashioned person. Tucked means fold or push. Jotted down means to write down something. Ramble on means talk or write aimlessly for long. Trait means a distinguishing quality. Convincing argument means a statement that made in such a manner that people believe it. These are the difficult words from page number 53. Inherited traits means qualities that one gets from one's parents. Incorrigible means something that cannot be corrected. Exhausted means very tired. Ingenuity means the quality of being clever. Ridiculous means deserving or inviting decision or a mockery. As she written in her essay that I would never be able to cure myself of the habit since my mother talked so much as I did, if not more, and that there's not much you can do about inherited traits means the qualities that one gets from one's parent. Then in that she argued that I would never be able to cure myself because she just gave that her mother, she also talked too much as she did. It can be more than her, and that's there not much you can do about inherited traits, and one can correct that one you have inherited from your parents. The qualities, it will remain in you also. Mr. Kissing had a good laugh at my arguments, but when I proceeded to talk my way through the next lesson, he assigned me a second essay. This time it was supposed to be an incorrigible chatterbox. Incorrigible means something that cannot be corrected. Now what happened? When Mr. Casing, he just read that essay, he just laughed at her arguments. And do you know Anne Frank? She keep on talking in the same way to the next lesson also. Then her math teacher, he stands for a math teacher, Mr. Casing. He gave her a second essay to write. And this time it was an incorrigible chatterbox. That means something that cannot be corrected. I handed it in, and Mr. Casing had nothing to complain about for 2 whole lessons. Now it was handed over to her, and Mr. Casing, he was not having any complaint for the next 2 lessons. However, during the 3rd lesson, he had finally had enough. And Anne Frank, as punishment for talking in class, write an essay entitled Quack, 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 said Mistress Chatterbox. For 2 lessons, he had not said anything, but in 3rd lesson, as she keep on talking, now he just full of anger, and finally he again gave the punishment to Anne Frank. And for talking in the class, he gave her an essay entitled Quack, 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 said Mistress Chatterbox.